Perfect. I'm not quite sure why I was shouting there because there is literally no one else in my house. You can all hear me, which is great. And yes, it is lovely that it's now February. We're getting some sunshine in. We've had a new moon. Everything feels much better except my hip. That's too much walking. Anyway, that's too much information. So on to some housekeeping for all of you. So first of all, if you could mute yourselves while other people are reading, so there's no distractions like that. And then you can clap after they've read. This event's being recorded, so please only share poems that you're happy to class as being published. Open mic poets, please keep to your 3-minute slot. You can use the chat to share your bios, books, and events. Also, really encourage you to use the chat to send lovely comments about when people have read their poems. If you really enjoy something, put those compliments in. It's really nice to read those after you've read, so chuck them into the comments section. So Gloucester Poetry Society is a volunteer-led society, and if you can spare a donation, please do, or consider joining the society, and Jason will pop a link in at some point so you can follow that. Right, that's enough housekeeping. So I will share a little poem. Now this is a cheeky one. I've got a book coming out in April, which is exciting, and I've been told not to share anything from it, but to that, because it's still there's still some edits to do, so it's technically not finished. And this one is called I Thought You Were a Catalyst for Change, but You Triggered Perimenopause. Who's laughing? I haven't started yet. Can you mute yourself? It's all right. It's quite funny. Okay. Yes, sex with you triggered perimenopause, and it turns out you were the cause of headaches, dry skin, sore knees, brain fog, and just a snog was all it took to put a fire in my chest and make my and a rose to my cheeks and made my knees weak. Now, osteoporosis, another diagnosis. My GP told me to drink more milk, wear loose cotton knickers, not silk, and get some exercise, but clearly not with you because you triggered my perimenopause. As implausible as it may seem, and as you know, I was clearly keen. I thought I was overcome with blushes, but it turned out they were just hot flushes. Thank you. Right. So let's get straight into readers. Now, is Michael here yet?
He's not here yet, so I'll keep an eye out for him.
Okay. So in which case, could we have Consuelo? Are you here? Have I pronounced that right? I hope so. Where are you?
You want me to read?
Yes, please. Yes, please do.
Okay. All right. I wasn't, not quite prepared, but sort of am. Okay. Okay, this is from these are old poems, and this is from a North Carolina, USA journal, which is impronounceable. Okay, so here's my poem. How to carry a horse for Cheetah. How to carry a horse in your heart for 57 years. 1,200 pounds, plus 7 for shoes and 3 for a leather halter. It's a lot to carry. And if you think of it, carrying her along, I mean, when you climb to the top of the peak, run the final mile of many steps across one more stone step to the cathedral. It's the burden of this equine that makes you slow down next to the pasture, the track, the arena. Look at them. Even the Appaloosa's silver dollars fade away to few spot leopard, then rose gray, a small mare, half Arabian and half Morgan. It's her spirit, her heart that warms you on the darkest day, keeps you on the path, makes you rear up on hind legs to any Motown tune or serpent sliding up walls of our house. There must be someone to thank for this. As you clap your hands together, press them hard, feel her whiskers grace your palm, warm breath on your fingers like smokeless incense. smelling sweet like hay in the instant it is mowed. So I have another. I don't know if I have time. Yes? Okay. All right. Birmingham Poetry Review, not in the UK, but in Alabama. All right. This is totally different. John Prine's face on a bamboo blind. It's him. Cheeks chewed by cancer, eyes sunk, adrift in all hollow sockets. My fingers twist fine twine between each slat, repair the shade shielding the back door window. It's not like the face of Jesus on the corn tortilla. No one reads blotches on giant grass. I tell myself, who knows John Prine anyway? Silently I sing, humidity built the snowman. Marvel at its words, even if to me it's about ice crystals, not a relationship condensed to a puddle on a sidewalk. There is another song where he and a buddy nail a model train track on the dining room table just because they can. I should keep mending. I should keep this mended shade, see the songwriter's face every morning. As I open the door, test first for humidity, pull back various rays of shine. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. And I agree with those people in the chat, very deep and beautiful. Thank you so much. Right. Next up, Richard Harries.
Hello, thank you. I've got some sort of mild abusive content warning. The poems are from my book, The Black Dog Came to Stay, about my abusive childhood and teen years, and it's published by Finn Hall and A Blot from the Blue. And hopefully, even Gerald won't have heard this one, and Laura, because they've heard so many of them. And I've tried to choose different ones. Strange to be in Brussels. Strange to be in Brussels, and what a lovely place. Sunshine bathed the buildings, historic and full of grace, tapestries and lace. How lovely, how welcoming. When I was about 15 and without a home, my father lived here. I was not allowed to visit, not welcome, barred. I never thought I would visit, but now I have. I am glad. A lovely place. And the past is just that, the past. I remember it well, but I have survived. Bad habits. I have to collect. Might as well be a squirrel with nuts. Have to have more. It's impulsive and I try to control it. See a CD, volume 2 at 50p? Bargain, get it. Then I have to have number 1 and 3. I have to, seriously. A porcelain lady, then find out it's part of a set? Yes, you've got it. A wall plaque of Catherine of Aragon, cheap in a charity shop? Yes, you've got it now. Have the full set. All the wives, Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, and Mary too. Every Petula Clark issue, yes, every one, vinyl, CD and more. 78s, still in my house, but no player for them. Or no player for the vinyl either. A magazine with her on the cover? Yes, it's mine and it's in the loft. I'm getting better and I'm running out of room, but struggle. I know the cause. My bitch of a stepmother burnt everything I owned. I left at 15, having snatched some clothes and my records, and that's all. A huge Richard bonfire lit with photos of me, national health card and passport, birth certificate, all burnt free. My toys, all I owned, and I have felt naked and dispossessed, but the bitch still influences me. So one day I will buy volume 2 of that CD and steadfastly refuse the rest. But I'm now 73. So when will that be? And then just a brief one called More Proof. Thank you. So you think you're over the negativity of your childhood, you've dealt with it, survived so long ago. As you're over 70, then you chat on your phone with your sister. We talk about my daughter's lovely dog. I said, he is friendly. It's Trudy, my beloved dog. Dalmatian I had as a child, a beloved dog. Now, I was homeless from 15 and my dad moved to Brussels. I was not allowed to his home, and before that, I had felt lumps on Trudy and was worried about her. She went to Brussels and I never heard what happened to her. Now, not being an imbecile, I know she is dead. She would be 65 years old in human years by now, 455 in Dalmatian years, so definitely dead. I commented that I never knew how she died. My sister said, oh, Dad rang me, told me she had to be put to sleep. Rang you? He never rang me, ever. He rang her often, it seems. Oddly, although I loathe the bastard knowing that he rang a sibling, and maybe the other siblings too, strangely disturbed me. And Trudy was my dog, bought for me. I knew he never really cared for me. A bit more proof after all this time. A bit of an unexpected proof. Just made me sad, but only for a little while. It was just extraordinary. I thought, how can I? He died in 1978. How can I be upset now, about something he did all those years ago? But it triggers you, doesn't it? Something like that. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, I agree. Within the chat's very moving. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for sharing. So we're moving on to Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hello. Hello, how is everybody? Can you hear me okay?
We can, yeah.
Great. I first read this poem a year ago on a stage outside 10 Downing Street. So I thought I'd re-erect it today. It's called Acton 4 2024. They came for him in the hours when none stirred, the time between the end of night and the beginning of morn. They dragged him from his slumber, from his bed. None came to his aid. Some neither knew nor cared. Some feared they'd be taken instead. The only evidence they'd been there, the piss stain left on his mattress. Taken to a hospital, he would draw his final fatal breath. The death certificate reads pneumonia. Reality reads barbiturates poisoning. Body thrown in a mass unmarked grave with hundreds like him, never to be named, never to be remembered. So empty wheelchairs, redundant crutches, their only memorial. Thus ends the life of a disabled boy, like so many, extinguished, expunged, forgotten, unidentified because of Acton T4, carried out in places like Hadimar. Why did no one take any action to stop Acton T4? The true and honest answer, no one cares what happened to those people as long as they were left alone. Today in this country, we do not want this to happen again. Not in 2024, not in 2034, not in 2044, not any time to come. So when fascists come knocking on your door, we must knock them to the floor, stamp them down, stamp them out. If you do not crush them when they are small and weak, they will kill us when they're big and strong. Clean our streets of fascists while we can, for should we fail today, we will pay the price tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Really important there. And you're right. Actually, everything you're saying there is really powerful. Thank you. Thanks for writing that. Thanks for sharing. Next up, we have. Where are you? Are you here? Are you here, Bryan Franco? I think you are.
Yes, I am.
Perfect. I like your picture.
Oh, thank you very much.
Or is yours, my friend?
Oh, it was an art figure drawing class I took several years ago. Let me find the piece I want to read. Here we go. Okay, I want to do two pieces, and after I do the first, you can tell me if I have time to do the second. The first is called Such Normalcy / Such a Nice Brisket. I'll just say that last Tuesday was Holocaust Memorial Day. And this piece was just accepted for publication in the National Beat Poetry Foundation Goddess Anthology. Such Normalcy / Such a Nice Brisket. Auntie Lucia, I didn't know your name until we met. You were great Uncle Gershon's wife. It would be the only time I met you. It had been over 2 decades and before I was born since you and Gershon had come to America. We were family. You hugged me with such genuine love, though we had never met. We were family. Uncle Gershon kissed both my cheeks as if he had held me as a baby, a surrogate grandfather for the one that had died when my father was 5. It was warm that night. Dad turned on ceiling fans and opened windows. We were dressed for shul, sitting for dinner, coats over chairs, sleeves rolled up. You rolled up your sleeves, and there it was, a tattoo of numbers and letters reducing you from a person to a piece of soon-to-be discarded inventory. I was a teenager. I stared. Dad had told me not to ask questions. You reached across the table to place your ivory soft hand on mine. You said, Treblinka. Uncle Gershon had made his way to the Belgian Congo before the Nazis arrived in Rhodes. In Italy, your family was sent away in cattle cars. After liberation, you made your way to the Congo as many Holocaust survivors did, met Uncle Gershon, and made a new family, then eventually found your way to South Africa. But that night, you were in Mobile, Alabama, Shabbat dinner at Mom's crumb leg, postmodern kitchen table, such normalcy. You lit the Sabbath candles with a sweet, chubby-cheeked smile, such normalcy. You complimented Mom's brisket and asked her for her kugel recipe, such normalcy. That night was a warm spring Alabama evening. You rolled up your sleeves as if you weren't revealing something unspeakable, as if that night was a regular occasion and such a special family event. You did, it was, and it was. I was a teenager. I could only think of the tattoo. I imagined one Nazi shaving your head while another used a needle to give you a serial number. It was the ugliest scar I had ever seen, a wound cauterized by hate and history. It was warm. Ceiling fans and open windows warm. Sleeves were rolled up. I stared at what I saw as a horrific scar, but to you, it was only a reminder of a childhood incident that happened so long ago and was no fault of your own. Do I have time to read one more? Yes. No.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me get back to that. It's called A Savory Situation. Yesterday at breakfast, when you broke the yolk on my sunny side up egg at the diner counter, it felt like you were reciting a bespoke love poem for everyone present to hear. You were declaring your undying love to me with that little laugh that happens that you know will make me blush, that will make my face feel aflush with warmth because I knew you'd offer me toast to sop the yellow with. Somehow this to me is a more grand romantic gesture than a dozen roses. Of course, the presentation of the toast was accompanied by a quick peck on the cheek. Why this type of action is remedy for my woes is a mystery to me. You understand why I prefer honey in my hot coffee on the coldest winter days. You understand me. You get me. You find ways to say you love me that require nothing in return, except that when I laugh my not so little laugh afterward, when I savor that toast dipped into the yellow, savor your poem, and drink my coffee with honey. Because on the coldest winter days, you alone warm my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Brian. There's some lovely comments in there you should read through. I agree with all of them. That's, yeah, it's really beautiful. Next up, we have Rick, poet of Three Rivers.
Thank you so very much. It's an honor to be here among this fine assortment of poets. I thank you, poets, first, last, and always for speaking your truth. Just not enough of that in this world. So here's a couple little pieces for you. I will stay within 3 minutes. First one's called Fact Checkers Ban. They've actually sent out a notice to American embassies banning anyone who's fact-checked the Trump administration. So fact checkers banned. Fact checkers, true speakers, these damn fabrications crumble. That won't help on Wall Street when reputations tumble. How can it stand when lying itself is in such strenuous demand? One can hardly tell and then can barely see the way clear across the fog-bound Zyder Sea. The enemies of lying just aren't welcome here. They might all cringe or cramp and damage the liars of the Trumpitation careers. We like the liars. We like to see them flourish. And what about the dangers unless they're nourished and encouraged? All that truth-telling can get pretty icky. And then after all, the slanderous, sickly liars, they must prosper and be encouraged. If gorging on the public coffers is to succeed and flourish, this, my friend, is exactly what truth-telling fails to nourish. We've decided to raise the bar. Those goddamn truth-tellers and fact-checkers, we know who they are. Double-dyed, troubled reflectors. They might hinder the liars and perhaps leave a scar. You know who you are. And this one, it's called They Gathered in Davos. They gathered in Davos. Europeans are no longer even slightly amused at the yelling, the screaming, the cursing he used. They've seen toddler behavior before. They gathered in Davos for a meeting, not a special Trump-style WrestleMania downbeating. NATO was forced to send troops to protect Greenland from the Yanks. And to this day, not even one of the NATO generals has heard the tiniest word of thanks. Dumpy even tried to diminish NATO's contribution. By now, everyone knows he lies, so that was obviously no effing solution. NATO was there to preserve the tall turf grab over a bunch of frozen acres of the snowy Greenland slab. Sure, plant some missiles, build some bases, take all you want, but don't imagine you can plant a flag that we cannot stand. Graceless scam. France and the UK, Swedes and the Belgians have something to tell him and his master Putin. Better find some other flavor or some other fools that you can try to sell. The NATO allies have stood together nearly 90 years, and it won't be on their watch it collapses, no matter how much kicking and screaming or how many untempered Trump tears. Will Trump try to war on our native allies? For what? And since a war isn't about bases or resources, it's about what? His gut? Hold your horses. Thank you, my friends. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I love your energy and your words and rhythm and all of those, and your backdrop as well. It's fantastic. Thanks so much for bringing that to us. So I've got Laura up next.
Thank you. I'll read two pieces. The first one is a villanelle for Renee Good, the poet who was shot in Minneapolis. When will the why of this world arrive? Have you seen the color of the sky? What color was it the day Renee died? Was it gray when she saw it one last time? We can see every truth in the sky. When will the why of this world arrive? She was there to help neighbors who are deprived. We know that the sky can only be kind. What color was it the day Renee died? Was it blue? Did it comfort one last time? Have you seen the full power of the sky? When will the why of this world arrive? What will it take for the good to survive? Is it enough that all eyes share the sky? What color was it the day Renee died? We can see hope, truth, the divine tide. We can find even ourselves in the sky. When will the why of this world arrive? What color was the sky the day Renee died? And the second one I'll share, because it's more complicated to see. This is set in Austria, where I am now. I wrote it first in German and with some grammatical help from my husband after I wrote it. So this is called Parking Lot Heat. As we leave the parking lot heat behind us, and Dr. Acupuncture begins a holiday in Salzkammergut. As the Thai market with its kitchen spoils an assortment of patrons, and the Jewish farm has lost its street sign, France serves herbal schnapps in his inner courtyard, and the birds swarm high in Mühlviertel. As the dragon of a chancellor drinks Russian punch, and the temperature in Linz climbs the high rises, as helicopters scratch the tummies of pig clouds, and families trudge north towards barbed wire. As 400 kilometers to the east, the Ukraine burns and resists. Buildings screech, wheat fields sweat, and sunflowers tremble. As here up high the beetle-eaten trees decry, with Mr. Sunshine and Sister Moon, the decay of rind, and ponder the composting of love and grief, the resurrection of forest leaf. As we leave the parking lot heat behind us, and it is too hot to shuffle around without a hat, we here up high in Mühlviertel, on steep green slopes, will find love. As the stone plants smile and the ravens call, as a mushroom stutters his cordial hymn, as the earth sighs its summer breath, we will rest here in this garden and simply love. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Thanks for writing again. Thank you. There's some really beautiful poems coming out tonight. Thank you for writing it again. It's really important that we share those sort of poems. So thank you. Okay, next up we have Jude. Hey Jude, where are you? There you are.
I'm right here. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, I have two, but the first one is very short. Okay. In an abandoned city, walls talk. Listen, they whisper their histories like villains in old plays, tight-lipped until facades crack, blank-eyed until blinds rise. In an abandoned city, weeds hang like mourning clothes, and narrow alleys, overgrown, are lost to time. We lived there once. The walls remember us. They tell our stories to the dust. Now, let me see if I can cheer you up some more. This one's called Always Leaving. I left that apartment, the one with fist holes in the dry wall, after a drain clogged in the courtyard and spewed raw sewage across stone flags. I did not know the owner of the fist, and although there must have been rats in the neighborhood, I never met one. I have often said goodbye to squirrels, but never with regret. I did not feel that I knew them, even when they danced along power lines, tapped across my tin roof, and I confess I once set traps for a rat, whose only crime was to run through my shortcut of a living room, heading for a storm drain. The trap worked. That rat made me a murderer. I have moved on, more or less willingly, 19 times so far, from sublet to sublet, studio to studio, from apartments with histories but no ghosts, from one perfect for me blue cottage with an overgrown yard and an orange cat. I left the orange cat, but not because he was also a murderer. Now I live in one room, which has all I need, a window that opens on a slice of sky and the city beyond. And I still remember the house where I began, every distant detail etched sharp as acid, the black cat left to die alone in a stone-floored scullery, the mice behind baseboards scrabbling with intent, the doors all closed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jude. Thank you. And now we're ready for our headliner. So Mark is in the room. Hopefully Mark's in the room. Yeah, he is. Hi, Mark. Welcome. So Mark grew up on a farm in the Dublin Mountains, 10 miles from the city, with several siblings, a rotary dial telephone and an unreliable bus service. Oh, sounds like Herefordshire. He came into poetry via songwriting. In 2022, he became Nailsworth's first poet laureate. In 2025, he published his first poetry pamphlet, Some Invited Ghosts, with Yew Tree Press, and he's working on his first full-length collection, and I don't know about you, but I can't wait to read it. So, Mark, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Emma. And thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. I'm very, very grateful to be here. I'm going to begin with some sections from a long poem, the pamphlet. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Yeah, in the middle of it is a long poem of 6 sections, so I won't read the entire poem, but I'll read a couple of sections from it. The poem is called A Whole Life's Work, and the title came from a book of the same name by an American Buddhist writer called Louis Richmond, if I've got his name correct. So, 2, learning to drive. Joe, there's nowhere to sit in this bedsit apart from the bed. Today I check my privilege. You don't trust your line manager or the parent company, and you can't stand your sister. I will need to listen to more than the ace of spades if I am to begin to get what Motorhead mean to you. Lemmy was the son of a vicar, you tell me. We are both learning how to drive. I got myself into a scrape round the back of the flats. Some spaces you can get into, but not out of again. I never asked about your dad. It is a life's work to become a bit less self-obsessed. But it was a relief to confide this and not feel such shame for turning the wrong way and getting stuck against the wall, until either way was a grinding of metal and scars on inherited bodywork. Joe, my Joe, will you just be somebody that I used to know? Four, something for your song. Joe, are we both strangers to ourselves? I cannot place your accent. You left a mathematical world to come write abstracts with the rest of us. I loved it. It was a job I never knew existed. My world was Friday night and its song. My only tool, perhaps, as I drew inward afterward. That song is forgotten. It plays in my head today. Emotion recollected in tranquility. Joe, there was a sort of trespass, looking at what was left after the office move. I was there to gather stray IT kit from the emptied floors. There was a framed photo in your abandoned cubicle. Proud and distant I make him, inscrutable behind sunglasses. I think Tom left some back copies of Mojo magazine. I read about the white stripes recording white blood cells. But I digress. Whether you left his photo by deliberation or accident, I cannot tell. Joe, my Joe, will you just be somebody that I used to know? Six. Moving statues and moral panics. Joe, your mum stood out with her health food trip. Measured in speech, a woman who considered things. Not a farmer's wife who might wring a chicken's neck and then pluck it. It was a time when a nickname could label a family, become part of local lore. Your older brother fell asleep while serving half-ate mass, so the story goes. He became Sleepy Quinn. The small-town boys were trying out new romanticism with adjustments for the Dublin mountains. Just trying to find their way, like teenagers anywhere. No simple time, no golden age, no jobs, just moving statues and moral panics. Everyone wrote off Sinead O'Connor as a madwoman. She was just getting started on her work. We made a BMX track that went around the hen house, across the Haggard, and over the road to the Hartel's back gate. I don't think I understood what it meant to move to America. As an alien, I think Asher may have wanted to return to his home planet. 38 seconds to your 37. I remember that you felt awkward to be the winner. There was a goodness about you, I see now. Something that might come from the experience of unconditional love. Joe, my Joe, will you just be somebody that I used to know? This next one, this was the first poem I wrote after a very, very long break in which I thought wasn't going to be writing any poems ever again. So it was a big surprise when this kind of came to me. I took an old TV, an unbroken TV, to the tip, and it kind of felt not right to be throwing out a working device. And I think something in that kind of triggered the impulse of the poem. So it's called "On Taking an Old TV to the Tip," and a subtitle of "Sony Trinitron to Horsley Recycling Centre, 31st of January 2020. I think we all remember what was beginning to go on around January 2020. Venerable cathode ray tube of my sofa-bound years, today I say goodbye. Recycling, it says, but I think we know the truth. I have dumped you unceremoniously into a skip labelled TVs and monitors. No more will electrons be ineluctably drawn to your phosphorescent screen in that orchestrated sub-second dance so reliable it no longer seems like magic. Your analog nature has been usurped by the digital, the binary, that brings infinite choice, infinite distraction. What would my father say about this alien mentality, our barn chock-a-block with things kept in case? This is no country for old TVs. Things are said to have being, so I thank you today for all those years, those spells of illumination and distraction. These next two were in the Dialect Writers Anthology 2025. And I'm part of the Dialect Writers community. This one is called Forest of Compassion. I think when I wrote this, I was reading a lot of Caroline Bird at the time. And maybe Caroline Bird mixed with some Buddhism. Forest of Compassion. This is impossible, but it is what I can do. I will plant a forest of compassion for you. Shame cracks as your lungs fill, a dog of unconditional love at your side. I wish the poem you need to find you. It has something to do with fluid mechanics, I think. I see you walking, just to be walking, the past held lightly, like a dandelion clock. I see you with a kindness beyond what I can manage now. When it's autumn, I see you shedding what no longer serves among these trees. I will plant seeds when I wake and just before sleep. It is no obligation. It is what I must do. The wind will be singing there. I see you catch its song for you. This one is called A Love of Words. The eloquence with which you have unfurled your word world has lulled me awake. When you can't sleep, I imagine you continue working on a dictionary. It maps a landscape of feeling, event memories you examine under the microscope, the way the restless do. You would much rather walk than lie here in the dark. Once, I suspect, you also loved being awake while the world slept. Would an aerial view of our lives show similar paths? Our soundtrack a Venn diagram with intersecting bands. For now, let me draw a bird on this page, a thrush, something of where I come from. I do not know your favorite bird yet. This morning, when you come in, I will make the first coffee. I will try to make us laugh. It changes the light around the stories we tell. This next one is on paper. It's a newer one. It's not in it's not in my pamphlet. But it's an old poem that went through a kind of a complete rewrite. I think it had to kind of sit for quite a long time before I could come back to it and get a bit of objectivity. And I was finding it difficult to kind of describe. I was trying to like invent like a kind of compound word, like a portmanteau word, to describe some of the feelings. And then yeah, when I looked up portmanteau in the dictionary, it's also like a case, a carrying case, and I thought that's probably quite suitable. Yeah, and I read since then I read about somebody describing poems as being like a container. So this is kind of a container poem for a whole bunch of feelings. It's called a portmanteau for cleaning out my mother's fridge. Actually, I'll read it on screen. That might be a bit easier for me. Okay. As in two sections. 1. Raymond Carver's mailman dreamed some nights of going out, trembling with joy. He told himself they'd hold his job. Carol Ann Duffy saw her father walking in her garden. She couldn't catch him as it lengthened to hold each season. Alone he entered a silver room of cold. It seems like a dream. I left my mum in Tala Hospital and cleaned out her fridge when I found myself back in her silent house. 2. I am in need of a portmanteau that could hold this cleaning, her confusion, my cold. Some words she carried from her home place. The first coat she chose for me. A paintbrush wet with her favorite color. The recognition she carried me here. All these clothes could live there entangled, never to be put away neatly. I do not seek to lose them. I seek to renegotiate their gravity. I will just have a look at my list. Okay. This should be a little bit lighter. This is called shibboleth, and a shibboleth is like it's a very interesting word. I didn't know about it for years. It's only relatively recently I came across it, and it's like a kind of a word that can be used to either include people in a group or actually to exclude them. I think like a famous example is Lollapalooza, and I think was a word used to kind of round up, well, or identify Japanese citizens during World War II in America. So this is called Shibboleth, or his accent came with him to the bank. I would like to open a bank account, please. Since you ask, I am 33, and I have recently crossed the Irish Sea. I am beginning again at 33, and the futures behind a screen I cannot see, though I am keenly aware of being a guest of the nation, Team GB. I can't get far without a bank account, that much I can see, and it is a bit disconcerting, in a way you might not perceive, to find the words 33 drawing attention to me. There is merriment in your eye, and I can see that your name is Lowry, but I cannot smile equally. Lowry, I am 33, and I have a degree, and I am still struggling to deal with the DWP. And we are all reasonable people here. I want to believe in Team GB. You have my DOB. I am 33. And my mother was a Brosnan from Buherbui. She is still alive, but lonely, I think. I don't know why the address where I am staying is not in the system. There's a lot familiar and a lot new to me at 33. But a money launderer I do not intend to be. Can I open a bank account here? That is my plea. I know it is a small thing, a trifle, I agree. But this gate has a lock, and you hold the key. This is a poem about music. Music is very, very important to me. And when I was younger, I used to listen to the radio a lot, long before the streaming services, and you would hear songs occasionally, and the DJ might tell you who it was, or he might not, and you might not hear the same song for years. So this is kind of about the memory of a song that I heard a handful of times and then didn't hear for many years. So it's like my subconsciousness, I think, invented its own kind of interpretation of the song. So it's called You Can't Be Too Strong. And there's an epigraph. You Can't Be Too Strong is a song by Graham Parker, released on the 1979 album Squeezing Out Sparks. How many years divining with a hazel of song, you can't be too strong. It lives in me, received broadcast that has travelled far beyond the skin. The younger self, who relished clear-cut, hard sadnesses, is the older self who says, reach out, hang on. The unconscious remade it as it travelled further from first hearing, the vibration dying but eternal, a hurt voice and a skeleton on guitar, remixed to a worldview. In my version, the voice almost breaks when it sees that its ideas of strength were mistaken. The hard man is exhausted. But that self-conscious teenager, I'd write him a letter. He's still there nightly in his bedroom, at his church of radio, ready to press, play and record together, still looking for guidance from poem and song, wondering how to be strong. Have we time for one more? Okay. This is one of the things I find myself writing about is work, the world of work. And I don't know if I've read a huge amount of poetry about work or day jobs, but something that most of us do at some point at least. So yeah, this is one about my first job when I came out of college, and it was quite an unusual job. It was I wrote abstracts, which are like summaries of trade magazine articles and academic research articles and stuff. So it was I think it taught me a lot about writing actually. So this is called Notes for a Painting of Three Figures in a Cramped Office Kitchen Waiting for Coffee to Brew. My judgment was more fleet then, a tool of the ego. You are older, PhD to my BSc, perhaps already knowing that we are always just beginning. You let me spout in that kitchen, a space to essay those early mornings. We are all clever here, a whole building full, but you had already learned to be kind. The order in and dates on which we left lie unrecorded in the annals. News reached me that the Dublin office was closed after the takeover. Everyone laid off. It is now a fictional job, a period of magic realism on my CV. I wake this morning thinking of your coffee I learned not to drink on an empty stomach, and how ideas percolate. And what of that other PhD in the room, passionately fusing Motorhead with Western art music on the side? I have not forgotten you, but I have always been crazy about women. It seems as though it was a steam engine we were tending in that heady kitchen. Confused water dripped, steam issued stochastically from unseen vents, a necessary ritual before we could embark on that day's abstracts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. Just Jason, can we take everyone off mute so we can give a bit of a proper clap? Can we do that? Thanks, Mark. Show some appreciation.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Mark. Well done.
Pleasure.
Right, we're going to have a quick break for 5 minutes. If you could all just go for a vape, a wee, dance around your living room, whatever you need to do for the next 5 minutes, and we'll see you at 8:10. Else want to sign up now? Fantastic. Thanks, Jason. Hope you all had a nice break. Hope you're all feeling refreshed. I managed to make a cup of tea and not burn myself this time, which is great because the Hungry Caterpillar, for anyone who can remember. Favourite mug. We all back? Yep, perfect. Okay, so a couple of announcements for the second half. A big thanks to Mark again. You were wonderful. Thank you for being our wonderful headliner. So announcements, the next Crafty Crows is on the 4th of March, and it will feature the wonderful Chloe Jacquet. Those of you who follow her already will know that she has got a short film. Some of us went to the premiere last weekend. Yeah, it was amazing. It was incredible. It's just been posted on social media, so I encourage you to go and have a look at the film, like it, comment, share it. It's wonderful. It really is incredible film. So yeah, please do. So that's going to be a real treat, and hopefully, Jason, we're going to get to see the film as part of Crafty Crows. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, but you'll want to watch it again and again. It's so good. So that's the 4th of March, and also the 1st of April. The headliner will be Clive Oseman, another incredible. Oh, he's just heartwarming, funny, brilliant. Yeah, two fantastic poets there. What a treat. So that's great. We've got that to look forward to. So that's good. So next up, I'm going to read you another poem. This one is, which one should I read? You know what? I'm going to read you this one. So usually I write funny, saucy type poems, bit, performancey, but under the watchful eye of my mentor, who is the amazing Rosie Garland, I've written some new things. And because this one isn't going into the book, I can share it. This one's called Dragonfly. I fake death to avoid further interaction as you, motionless, void of emotion, leave me hanging. You text me again and my guard drops, wings flap in painful excitement. Empty messages feel like coal, raw, hard, heavy as I go back for more. I imagine you thinking of me like you used to, wanting me to live in your pocket like a tiny frog, playful, tamed, nocturnal. You text me night, and the night never ends. Thank you. Okay, ways to kick off a second half. We are going to start with a wonderful DK. Hey.
Hey everyone, DK here. Quick heads up. I'll add some info in the chat after the poem, so you don't have to listen to me explain myself twice. This poem grew out of the Accessibility Arts January prompt today, after I found myself staring at a homegrown picture of muddy carrots and beets while thinking, very earnestly, and possibly overthinking it, about the year ahead, whether I'll grow food or flowers, and how personal growth, like vegetables, tends to be lumpy, slow, and best left unpolished. Not everything that grows is meant to glow under strip lights, barcode bright, scrubbed of its dirt and sold as success. Some things split sideways. Some things kink, curve their necks like questions no spreadsheet can answer. Bent carrots with backbone. Beets bleeding burgundy honesty. Rooted, not rooted, from soil that soils the skin and sticks. This isn't shelf-ready. This is self-steady. Slow-fed. Hand-led. Weather-worn and worth it. We were never grown for speed alone, not for yield per hour, or clean lines, or clock in bloom. Look close, the misshapen still nourishes. The crooked still carries weight. What looks like waste is just growth that refused to be optimized. Dirt under the nails beats gloss on the surface. Purpose prefers patience. Progress takes its time. Homegrown means you answer to the seasons, not the screens. You keep what feeds you, even if it doesn't photograph well. Whole, not polished. Rooted, not rushed. Alive enough to grow wrong and still be good. Thanks for being such a good crowd, online.
Thanks. Oh, thanks so much, DK. A bit of some love coming your way. There's some hearts coming up across the screen. It's good to see. It's great to hear from you. So we've squeezed Rosie on in now because she's having a really awful time in the sunshine. So off you
Sorry.
go.
Thank you. Thank you. When normally we sail, we don't normally have nice sunny. We sail in dark and cold places. So this is for me, not him. So I'm going to read from there was a hedgehog did a few little, they called them sticklebacks, and they were small anthologies, and I got 3 or 4 poems in a little tiny anthology. So this one is called, and I apologize to Sheila, she may have heard 1 or 2 of these, but other people won't have. On an infinitesimal shift in attraction, we met and you explained orange and ping pong ball in hand, how moons will wax and wane and so affect the tides. How with a compass we can find a fluid version of our way based on iron in the planet's core, which shifts almost unseen over the years. How magnetism can only go so far to help us find our way. And then this is a love poem. There are many kinds of love poem. This is called Trust. In narrow seas, I breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth. Calculate the distance to shore, check who is near. He watches the chart unfold. Our boat, a small black triangle. Red crosses mark the rocks I cannot see. He gestures left or right. I turn the wheel. I doubt I'll die in my bed. There'll be no cross for him or for me in his wake. Hope that doesn't come true. And then this, yeah, a gentle remonstrance. I trust you, but even God can have an off day, just a momentary lapse. And if he can, so can you. Look at the day he made wasps, then hornets and mosquitoes. He must have been thinking of higher things. Tanker. This is a tanker. Tanker at sea. We draw 2 meters, long weed streaming in the tide. We feel a small bump. Call it braille navigation. It's the sailor's bungee jump. And if I've got time for it, last one, which isn't at sea, it's at home. The down days. But sometimes all it takes is the sudden flash of halcyon blue as on the river magic flits from low slung branch to make its catch. A hare spied bounding on the hill, reminder of its canine past. The autumn sun through alien trees grown stronger in this colder land. Their lifespan should be 80 years, but here they just shed branches, grow. And then there's you, who are still here, despite our contradictory souls, our weather house, now in, now out. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rosie. Really enjoyed listening to those. Thank you. Next up, we have Lesley.
Hello, great to be here. Really enjoyed your set, Mark. It was, as I put in the chat, very meaty, very satisfying. So I'm going to just sort of see how it goes. All right, so I'm going to read this one. It's called Love Poem for the Door. It's about, I live on the coast everywhere I live, essentially. A window, a curtain, a doorway, an arch, black into an alley. Old meeting, I can't remember just now. A shadow at the entrance, a figure. If I squint my eyes, I want to go there, following, always and still. I desire everything. I desire everything, the smell of things. I am eager like a pup. The taste pickle my mouth, folded into myself to the ecstasy, the ecstatic part that points into, not sure the name of it, the meaning of it, but I know it surely. In the ocean you smell salt, the sour, dead smell of life that goes on, and you continue to simmer and ferment. Even while being born, you rock with sadness and too much life, and all the life and the waves are delicious, and too much, and tickle and smack and suck you and replenish you, and you are born and you die and you rot and ferment and become grit, and the grit is pure, white, and lets the water lick it daily, hourly, and at night with the moon high or not. I want to follow, but won't know whether I will. I wait. I forget my hair is white only around my head, where too much thinking turns it so white hot. I am celestial. The ends, the color of nuts, spiraling down like taproots to Middle Earth. I walk like a man, heel to toe, wide strides, determined, young and vital still, but at the mouth of the door, I pause. not hesitant, but thoughtful, aware, fully awake. And I wait with the patience of a mother or a saint no one will ever pray to. If I go, I will go forever, silently, and there would be nothing to mark the moment of my passing. And then the next one I'm going to read. Yeah, it's sort of about survival. It's called Step the Walk. We're not big enough to hold all that we must carry. The arms only reach as far as they do and do not reach any further than that. And the paths that we sometimes have to walk are much longer than we can walk. And the steps that must be climbed are too steep, and the legs that must be climbed, excuse me, something just happened. And the steps that must be climbed are too steep, and the legs cannot follow the command of the mind to say, just one more step, and then again, one more step. And we know as we tell the mind, that mind is following the command of the heart to say that for everything to be okay, for everyone to survive, the heart knows and says, yes, mind, overcome all this, mind. Just tell the body to listen to this and just put the foot there on the step and do it. And then the other foot on the next step and force yourself up. And then in climbing and holding all that you must carry and walking all the long paths that you know you have to walk, or else all is lost. Everyone is lost. You know in the back of your mind that you are asking too much, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we all go on, and whatever that takes is whatever it takes. And there are moments when the universe listens to that, what the heart says, and that prevails. It does sometimes. That prevails. So that's it for me.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Lesley. Thank you. Some love coming your way. It's nice to see you again. Oh, right, where are we? You sometimes just get lost because you're enjoying the poem so much. Thank you. So next up is Martin.
Hi. Good night, everyone. I'm gonna read this poem in Espanol and then English.
I will read in English. It's our standard.
So the name this poem is Sus propios fantasmas. They are ghosts. Sentimientos, historia, verdad, mentira, alegría o llanto. Para ser honesto, todo lo vivo y todo lo siento. No puedo negarlo porque lo que experimento cuando percibo la impaciencia de aquellos que escuchan mi voz, mis angustias por los que acontecimientos de la vida y en mi entorno. De verdad, no es que me queje, no, es más bien un desahogo a lo que considero dolor y quizás injusto. Mas conozco muy bien los pagos por nuestras conductas, buenas o malas. Alguien dijo una vez, haz el bien sin mirar a quién. Y un sabio dijo, estás siempre dispuesto para pagarle a la vida el precio de tus acciones. Festeja las buenas, pero aprende de las malas para hacer no caer. Todos aprendemos en el camino. Frases escritas por filósofos, profetas y poetas. Y yo me pregunto, ¿Qué he aprendido de mis abuelos, de mis viejos, de los antepasados, de la historia? Entonces, dejé de confesarme con los humanos. Ellos tienen sus propios fantasmas.
Okay, I will read in English. The title's called Their Own Ghosts. Feelings, history, truth, lies, joy, or tears. To be honest, I live and feel it all. I can't deny it because I experience it when I perceive the impatience of those who hear my voice, my anxieties about life's events in my surroundings. It's not really that I'm complaining. No, it's more of a release of what I consider pain and perhaps unfair. But I know very well the consequences of our actions, good or bad. Someone once said, do good without looking at who it's for. And a wise man said, always be ready to pay life the price for your actions. Celebrate the good, but learn from the bad so as to not fall into the same mistake, especially if you've caused hurt. Nobody is born knowing. We learn everything along the way. Phrases written by philosophers, prophets, and poets. And I wonder what I've learned from my grandparents, from the elders of my ancestors, from history. Then I stopped confessing to humans. They have their own ghosts. So that's it for us. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I love that to hear it in two different languages is always really nice. Something a little bit different, a bit special. So thank you for sharing that with us. Next up, we have Charlie Sanderson.
Hi.
Hi.
Sure, it's been great. It's been some really lovely little DK. Purpose prefers patience. Whoa, I like that. I was like, write that down. I'll just buzz through a few things. First one's called Valentine's Day. I like that woman in the book with the goshawk, hunting, tethered or in flight, exceptional, rare, the line between wonder and nightmare. Am I the falconer or the bird, or both? Loved in distances, deemed safe from which to admire hawks and difficult females. The few wishing to come close, either reckless, baying for blood, or simply grasping at mist. Job list. Number 1, remember your freedom. Number 2, keep our tiger's tail wild. Number 3, scream, howl, bark up in pagan tribes with flowered bowler hats. Number 4, unleash your voice, songbird. Number 5, this is your time. Mother your child, be bold, be wild. Number 6, fuck convention, right off. And then this is one that I just found, and I was like, oh, I'll twiddle with that. Rise up, I am just a shadow. Remember you have wings, cocooned in shoulder blades, and there are shadow forces always lighting flames of hate in our hearts. Rise up, mermaid, giant, phoenix, eagle, bird, a word to the herd to stand apart. Do not let that hate burn your cocoon before you've made your flight a living work of art. That's me. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Charlie. Thanks for that. Really enjoyed your poems. Sheila, where are you?
Hi.
There you are.
Apologies for my lateness. I had trouble getting through. Can you hear me? Yeah, good. Thanks.
And yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had trouble signing in or something, but anyway, I've got there in the end. But I've heard nearly everybody. I think that's is great. It's absolutely wonderful. So I'll just, I've got 3 minutes, yes? So
right, yeah.
I'll, have you got time for 2 poems? No? Okay. This is where I live here on the river. Rosie will know it. It's a clay bed, and it was always used for digging up clay. It still is actually sometimes, and so this is based on that really. We walk the way of clay. We walk the way of clay, sink into the history of heavy horses in the mud. We strain to listen, marvel at the price of peace, so cheap for anyone who wants it. You tell me we are this mud. It grabs us with heavy feet at every step, drags us in, and we are moulded in its likeness, shaped to step lightly off. We learn to pick our way through. You tell me to listen, that I will hear the snort and tremble, squelch and neigh of troubled souls who pulled the carts. I see the writing on the page, carved by swans, egrets, oyster catchers. You tell how those men of clay reached the bridge to pay their toll, how labour's price wrote their names. I feel your hands, veined yet soft, steady me on shale green ground, so I do not slip into the shoreline whisper. Gulls disturb this bond between us. I ask, how far to Newton Abbot? Your answer's lost in the hug of wind, in the slam and moan that lifts us off our feet as the sky above cries, I read your lips, but it doesn't matter because we are here. Thank you. This one is in an anthology for the silent, which is for the against league. It's the League of Cruel Sports against the League of cruelty to animals. It's full of other people's poems more than just me. And it's called The Bag. The red grouse lies low, his call a warning for her to stay in what is left of burnt heather, to not follow whatever happens. She looks for his handsome eye, his red cap, his feathery claws. In grey shadows she hides in the moorland hollows. She will know him, his scent blown on a glass mist, his red stripe that makes him hear hers the strength of his wing beats. At first light she will hear him, rise up, leave swift and low. He will not heed her warning to go back, go back. She will yield to the moss, crouch down in the upland bog, wait his return, his cackling call, hide from the shooters. Even in the blaze of the rising sun, he will refuse a blindfolded eye to armed men intent on a kill as he flies towards their fire. At the beater's whistle, she too will lift herself up, speed to the wave of flags towards the line of guns. And when the small bores are spent with fun money, she will rest again in wait for him, shrug off the stain of what she is to them, sink into the sloth of the shooter's inglorious bag, into her silence. Thank you. That's from me. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Sheila. Thanks for sharing. Gerald.
Hi. Great. And Mark, a Graham Parker fan. I'm with I think I've got 2. The first one, I'm gonna, because I feel we need some holiness here. I'm gonna read a hymn, and it's not even written by me. I borrowed it. one of the things is if you live in a stately home, as I do, and many of you will do, you go in the attic and you find a manuscript you didn't know was there. This is the original manuscript from Reginald Heber. You'll know this hymn. This is really for Rick, primarily. He's there. From Greenland's icy mountains, from India's coral strand. It's good stuff, this. From Afric's sunny fountains, where Afric's sunny fountains roll down their golden sand. From many an ancient river, from many a palmy plain, there comes a trembling shiver. He's off on one again. Will Trump, whose soul is whited by plaudits from on high, will he on men benighted his bigly bombs apply? Damnation, oh damnation, his woeful threats proclaim, till earth's remotest nations all understand his game. It's poetry for you. Waft, waft, ye winds his story, and you, ye waters, roll. Dress him in stolen glory, spread lies from pole to pole, till his unransomed nature, his presidential stain, deceiver, felon, traitor, is the poetry word here, get flushed down the drain. Thank you. That's the original of Reginald Heber, found in my attic. And then the other one I'm going to do, I'd love to do my one about Sinead O'Connor, but it's on another computer. Jason kindly published it in Steel Jackdaw. But because I'm not at all jealous of Rosie, I'm going to do this one. I was in Salt and Pepper, which is a wonderful Turkish restaurant. If you're ever in Walsall, it's the best Turkish restaurant. And there were some people talking, I say Polish, they may have been Romanian, I don't know. And this is just an observation from then. It's called Nuki. They're arguing about Nuki in Polish. What they're saying, I cannot tell. But they just mentioned caravans. So I guess it's holidays. And that's why they're searching the internet in a Turkish restaurant. Their cokes and beers scattered across the table next to a plastic bag of ribs and sheesh, which they couldn't eat. Voices competing with music, and the diner who brought in flowers for somebody's birthday or anniversary, or just because the food is so good and will make you happy. Unlike the disappointment which awaits in Nuki. Thank you. You should have gone to Nuki, Rosie.
Oh, Gerald, I like Nuki. Do you mean Nuki in the UK? I love it. Have you been to the airport? Cornish pasties and lager and palm trees. It's great. No? Maybe I saw a different side of Nuki to you. That was brilliant.
Trouble now.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think I only saw the airport, so maybe that was a bit more glamorous. Okay, next up is Lou.
Okay, so we were fortuitously, I don't know, talking about beaches earlier. So this is a different kind of beach experience, if you forgive me. So I've written a couple of poems about remembrance, and I just had a really clear picture in my mind of a soldier's hand with a cuff on his uniform as he fell into the beach on D-Day, and the hole that he made with his hand filled with water. And I just was, anyway, this is where that poem came from. And I just wondered, as he put one foot on the sand and was shot in a barrage of gunfire, as he fell and reached his hand out and plunged into the cold, wet sand, I just wondered, is it possible at all that any peace could be found in the still, cold, wet sand into which he fell, knowing that this was where his final moments would be. So this is called I Fell. I fell into the sand. It tightened with a knowing grip, my fingers holding steady should this crumbling lifeline slip. The whispering ground that caught me as I dropped to my knees urges wait a while as she confides, fate brought you here to me. My broken body proof that life and love are cold, yet to be gifted one more moment makes the weakest man grow bold. What will 100 years of looking back to this moment bring? One more second in the sand as the bullets around me sing. How does this long neglected friend offer such a welcome embrace? How does she drown the noise out in this God-forsaken place? Rest a while, she tells me, there's no comfort found in haste. Lay your cheek upon my skin, feel its coolness on your face. If you take just one more breath, allow your ears the sweetest sound of all that brought you to me on this your hallowed ground. She took me in her arms and said, I'll wait with you by and by. I'll tell them this is where you fell, and with you I will forever lie. So there we go. Okay, I've got one more tiny one. Is that okay? So I'm going to take you back briefly to last February, one Friday evening, where the leaders of two great nations were meeting in the Oval Office. Imagine there you are on your own in front of the world's media, fighting for the sovereignty of your country, which has been at war for 3 years. This is called No One. Someone tripped me up and forced his loud into my space. He wouldn't let me speak and slammed his stupid in my face. Someone set me up and poked me with a stick, circled like a vulture, and on my dignity did spit. Someone hid a smile as they fed me to the walls, licked each other's fingers and thumbed their noses at us all. The world raised an eyebrow and everyone leaned in as someone drew his breath and took another swing. But someone isn't everyone, and most everyone agreed to reach out with a warm hand and help truth up from off its knees. Remember, you're only someone if you've earned your place. To everybody else, you're just atoms occupying space. There you go. Two different poems. So.
Everybody else. I love that bit. I love the last line. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing. And thank you for the ongoing conversation about New Key in the chat. So somebody please write a poem about New Key. We have a conversational poem. Those two sides. I want to see that in the next Crafty Crows as your challenge. So next up we are going to have Jason share a poem with us. Jason, please.
Thank you. What a night. Brilliant set, Mark. Thank you very much. And always a sterling open mic. I thought, because Clive's not here, I'd do something a little bit more light-hearted. We've been talking a lot about love. So I've just got this one to share. Ode to Cardboard Box. Oh, thing of needs, unassuming, plainly comforting in mid-brown chic, or should I say, fawn. How you race through green belt, prowl brown belt, a mistress of camouflage in the latter, but no matter. Oh, Vasadura, your 6 walls hold abundance, treasure, hell even kink, things that sing of pleasure. How you caress them, snug and safe, in predictable embrace, like a lifelong lover carries a heart. I've seen a movie with a head in a box, but that's way too far to take this. My box is pure, steadfast, as long as it's taped. I stare agape at utilitarian brilliance, a star in a cosmos of stuff, a spaceship with a tight crew, cushioned in paper stasis. If you were ekphrasis, I'd unpack you, paint the space between you, go further, and unfold you to flat template. Marvel at your outline. Thing of Boccioni, how could I escape your unique forms and continuity in space? Exemplar of refinement, from seed to sheet, my queen of the street. Sweet majesty of form and function, contain me, possess me, heaven's sake, paper tigress, undress me. Down to atoms, adrift in your universe, for better, for worse. Allow me to animate you, resurrect you, fold gently in and close out the world, to dream inside. Ship to bottle, set sail the infinite. Let me play cat Lady Schrödinger, till the light comes and we share that rush of oxygen and meet those loving eyes full of ecstasy, spent on the prize that beckoned me inside your Amazonian prime. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks so much for sharing that one. And we are going to finish up now with Andy. Andy N.
Thanks, Emma. Okay, been a really good night tonight. I've really enjoyed it. So, right, well, I'm going to take us a completely different direction. So, a couple of you know I'm from the Manchester area, and I've had a big commission coming on. I've got to write something about my growing up in South Manchester. So this is a short piece about that, and it's how times change, really. I think it should be relatable. This is called The Small Journeys That Shape Us. People in Stretford always shop in Urmston, and people at Urmston always shop in Stretford. It's one of those quiet truths I grew up with, a piece of local logic that never needed explaining. The bus drivers seemed to know it, and the shopkeepers seemed to know when I was growing up in the 1970s, and both of my parents especially treated it as a rule of life, just as people in Chorlton drifted naturally toward Disbury. There was an unspoken flow across these South Manchester neighbourhoods, as predictable as the weather and as orderly as the corner shops that anchored them all. I didn't learn this in any map or guidebook, rather experience. Sitting in the passenger seats of buses beside my father on the 276 to Urmston, watching him make choices that never felt like choices at all. If we all lived in one place, we shopped in the other. If a street belonged to us, our errands belonged somewhere slightly beyond it. It was though crossing a boundary, however small, was part of being from there. The journey where we went simply added next to the excitement. Of course, it all changed in South Manchester when the Trafford Centre opened in 1998 and the rise of the huge supermarkets and internet shopping, and a slow decline crept upon Stretford, Urmston, Chorlton and Disbury and so many other small districts, turning them all in the space of a couple of years into ghost towns. Convenience shifted familiarity to flashing lights on a sheer scale, and the old pattern of movements, Stretford to Urmston, Chorlton to Disbury, for example, loosened in the shadow of something newer, bigger and harder to ignore. In the end, those old shopping routes, Stretford to Urmston, Chorlton and Disbury, linger in my memory, not as habits, as they still do with my parents, but a way of understanding how a community once connected within itself. The Trafford Centre and the rise of out-of-town retail changed the physical landscape. What stays with me from growing up are still those smaller journeys, the ones taken on the bus with my father, the ones that make the patchwork of South Manchester feel familiar and alive. Places shift, shops come, shops go, but the roots we all grow up with, no matter where we live, and experiences stay with us after the signs have changed, influencing how we operate our very lives, where we turn every day. That's me done, guys. Thank you again.
Thanks, Andy. What a great way to finish the evening. Thanks so much. And thanks to all the people who read tonight. You were wonderful. Thanks to everyone who left lovely comments in the chat and all the lovely chat that's going on today. It's really lovely to connect with each other, even though we're sort of miles apart. So just to remind you that the next Crafty Crows is on the 4th of March, and that's again the amazing Chloe Jacquet. And I believe this ends the evening. Jason, did you put a link in the chat if anyone would like to make a donation towards the Gloucester Poetry Society? Which
I did, but I'll pop that in finally.
Yeah, pop it in again. And if you can give a couple of pounds, then please do. It helps them to pay the wonderful poets that come today. And big thank you to Mark. Thanks so much. Another big clap for Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon. We'll see you on the 4th of March.
Thank you.
Thanks all.
Bye.